He used to take classes in San Diego. Hey everyone, it's Emily from ChildCareCRM. I am joined again with Lisa Henkel, our Director of Customer Success. We were live this morning, so if you were able to catch that, welcome back. If this is your first webinar of today, we are talking about one of the new features in your system, the Enrollment Team Functionality.
Yes.
So, I think it might be helpful. There's probably some people on here wondering what an enrollment team is. If it's for them, what does that even mean?
Yes.
So I'll give my 2 cents on what I think an enrollment team is, and then you tell me. You would be the expert. Okay, so I think as our industry has grown and we have matured a bit, we have adopted some of the best practices of other successful industries. And this is our take on a centralized enrollment hub, or a centralized, I hate the word call center or contact center, but that's kind of what it is. It's your first point of entry or first contact with an organization. So as you've grown, if you've seen that maybe you've got one enrollment specialist, or you have a team of enrollment specialists that are specifically working on moving parents through the beginning of the pipeline, through enrollment, and even beyond in the retention, and you're trying to take some of that workload off of your center staff, I think Enrollment Teams is a good fit for you. If you've got more than one location you're managing, and maybe more than one person, or just even one person who is managing people across different locations, moving them through the pipeline and into retention, Enrollment Teams might be a fit for you. What's your
agree.
definition?
I think that the biggest part of that is an enrollment team has centralized processes where one person is responsible for multiple locations. We do have customers who have enrollment teams where they have an enrollment person at each location.
Okay.
This is a little bit different because this is centralized. This is common sharing of resources where one person is responsible for several locations and holding the hand and walking parents through that enrollment process.
Gotcha.
Everybody does it a little differently.
Yeah.
Sometimes centralized enrollment, they're setting up tours and then they're passing off to the center locations. Sometimes they're setting tours, the location is doing a tour, and then it comes back to the enrollment team and they're finishing out the process and they're moving into those retention steps as well.
Okay.
But I think the big thing about enrollment teams is that it is centralized. It's not at the location.
Okay. So I think in order to know if Enrollment Teams is a good fit for you, if you've already got an enrollment team, you're probably utilizing the system already to work with this enrollment team. You've just kind of done some workarounds or some things that, yes, they work, but they kind of are a Band-Aid. This is meant for you. If you've already got that in place, you're going to love this feature. It's going to change the way that your enrollment specialists are able to, they will no longer have to, what did we call that? Dive and surface. Go back to a center level and then back up to their level and dive. So they'll get to work across the database with leads, no matter where the lead is inquiring at. If they have access or permissions, they can work there. I think in order to be prepared for this, what do I need to know? If I've already got enrollment teams, we already have that process built in. What do I need to know before I turn this thing on?
So I think prepare is a great word. There's 2 words that we've been using in our earlier webinar and now, prepare and aware.
Okay.
So I think for this particular one, the thing to be prepared with is, how does this affect my internal process? So do I have a team of people where a lead comes in and whoever accepts that lead, whoever answers the phone first is then the person that works with that
Like
family.
a first come, first serve. Okay.
Or do I have a team where when that lead comes in, if it's for a center that I'm responsible for, then that's my lead.
Okay.
So you really need to look at those workflows and how you want this to work for your particular organization, because you can set things up in enrollment teams that will reflect that personality that you have in your centralized process.
Okay, so that makes sense for somebody who's already got it going on.
Right.
What if I don't? What if it's a neat concept and I'm thinking about doing that? What would I need to know before I launch that within my system, within my processes? How do I make that decision? Can you help me make it?
I can advise and counsel you. I cannot make that decision for you.
Got it.
I can't. I can tell you that there are things with enrollment teams that everybody could find a little bit useful.
Okay.
But whether or not this is something that you really want to implement within your organization, only you can answer that question.
Okay, I think that's a good point, because I think the concept is newer to our industry. I see it creeping up a whole lot more. It's like every other day I find somebody else is using centralized enrollment or an enrollment hub situation. But you would need to make the decision on whether that was a good fit for your organization. And again, like Lisa was saying, some of you who even have multiple sites, you have one specialized, enrollment specialist at each location. That you don't need to change your processes really within. You wouldn't need to use enrollment teams. But if you're going to elevate those people up and make sure that they can work in a centralized spot across all of the databases, this might be a good fit for you. So I think today, when we're going to look through the system, let's talk about how to set up the enrollment team, because realistically, that's the most intricate part. Once you've got enrollment teams launched, if you know how to use tasks, you know how to use emails, if you've been using the system, it doesn't really change much for you. So I think the biggest part is the setup of an enrollment team and how you're going to do that. So I think if it's okay with you, I'll walk us through how you would set up a new enrollment team.
We'd love that.
All right. So within your system, you're going to start in the settings tab. So again, this is going to, the responsibility here is going to reside with someone who has access to this tab, who is the administrator of the database, makes decisions for the database, and can change things all over. So if you're on this call and you're part of the enrollment team and you want to launch it, we're excited for you. You need to get us in contact with your database administrator, somebody who makes the decisions. All right, so in the settings tab, you're going to want to start in staff.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm going to back us up for 1 second.
Please.
We need to talk about enabling it first.
Oh, that's important.
Yeah, we can't do any of this unless the enrollment teams are enabled.
It will magically appear. We will sprinkle enrollment fairy dust. All right, so I am ready to do enrollment teams. I think I'm ready anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I went to my settings tab, or I went to my staff tab and I saw nothing.
Right.
So how do I turn enrollment teams on?
So enrollment teams was part of our recent launch that
Okay.
we did a week and a half ago.
Yeah.
But it is not automatically on.
Okay.
Because we didn't want it to change things within your system without you having that opportunity
Really
to be
appreciate
prepared.
that. Thank you so much.
So once you have done that prep work and you think that you're ready, we would like you to email us at support@ChildCareCRM
Okay.
and let us know that you're ready for that feature to be turned on.
Okay.
Once it's turned on, you will then see in your settings preferences the enrollment team functionality, and you will need to enable that. So
Okay.
it is a two-step process.
So it'll be disabled when
It'll-
you give me access.
Exactly.
But I'll need to enable it.
Yes.
Just, asking for a friend. When I send an email in that says I'm ready for enrollment team, do you just trust me? Or
We usually like to help you be sure
Okay.
that you're
All right.
prepared. So we'll look at a couple of things, a couple of red flag items to make sure that you have thought about those and reviewed them. When we see a couple of things present, we'll know that you have done that legwork
Okay.
first, and then we'll go ahead and turn those on for you.
Okay, so I have emailed in. You have determined that I am not a red flag.
Yes, but you are ready.
I have not yet determined that I am not a red flag.
Okay. Would you like to practice and play with it a little
I
bit?
might. I've been known to break some things in my system, and that was bad. So how do I not do that again?
So if you would like to try out the feature without actually turning it on in your system, we do have a test lab environment
Okay.
that we've set up, and we are happy to give you access to that if you want to work within that environment first.
Okay.
Make sure that you've thought about all the things that could happen, and then let us know, okay, now I'm ready. Turn me
Okay.
on.
I like training wheels. You know what I mean? I didn't used to, but now I really appreciate the bumpers. I really like to make sure that it's going to be a good one. Okay. So that's helpful. So email you will check it out. I will decide if I'm ready. I can test it if I'm not. But then once I do, in my preferences section, I will be able to enable enrollment team.
Yes.
Okay. So once I've got that enabled, you'll also see some differences. Now in your system settings, you have a new tab called enrollment team. Okay? So within that enrollment team, Lisa was just kind of hinting to the fact, or not hinting, she was flat out telling you, you're going to have to decide. You will have to know. How you want your enrollment team to work. Is it first come, first serve? Is this one person responsible for these amount of locations? You have to know that before you go into it. And here's where you will set those parameters. So in the enrollment team tab, I'm gonna ask you a couple questions about this specific feature. Who do you want to be the enrollment rep or the enrollment specialist assigned to a newly added lead? Now let's remind everybody how a lead is added to the system. 1, they came in through a web form.
Yes.
Any opt-in on the website, social media, wherever. They came in through the web. 2, they were manually added to the system.
Yes.
3, they came in through a kiosk form, not as a duplicate, but as a brand new walk-in tour. That's how a lead gets in the system, right? So you need to decide here, and we don't get in just from filling out a web form. Whoever clicks the green button,
The
accept button, right, on pending leads, that's what it's asking you for. So who is the enrollment rep designated for that lead when the green check mark is clicked? Is it just whoever did it? Or is it a specific person, so that even if Lisa and I are on an enrollment team together and she is going to take everybody for this location, I can click that green check mark away, my corporate administrators can, a center director could, it doesn't matter who accepts the lead or brings them into the system. Here's where I'm designating who actually gets all the tasks assigned.
You probably have some business rules already set up when that lead is accepted. They're going to get an email, or it's going to generate a task. What this is telling you is who's going to be responsible for that task.
All right. So if I am a first come, first serve, then I probably want to leave it as rep added, right? And then anybody on the team can accept any lead, can work any tasks. The rep for the location is somebody, and I'm going to show you where you set that up, but you'll go into every single location and designate a representative if you choose to work that way. The designated rep for a location is not required, so you don't actually have to set it, but it is helpful as you continue to go to this enrollment team to think about that part of the process. Which tasks can be assigned to which tasks can non-corporate staff assign to the enrollment team? So non-corporate staff, we mean location level usually, or regional level people that aren't at the very top. So you want to kind of decide what tasks a director, assistant director, regional manager, administrator, what can they give back to the enrollment team? What can they say, hey, enrollment team rep, will you take this task for me? So in this example, what could I give to my enrollment team reps?
So let me give you a specific example. Let's say that you have a family who comes in and they do a tour and they decide they'd like to be considered for a different location.
Okay.
That center level director could assign a phone call task to the enrollment team to say, this person would like a different location. Reach out to them, call them, let's get them in the process for another location.
Got it. So as a center level director, I could say in this example, I had a tour, you scheduled me for a tour, they have more questions, or they would like our ebook packet or something I don't have access to, so will you go ahead and email them next, or will you review this account and look at it and tell me what you think, what we should do here? So in this example, as a center level director, I can ask my enrollment team to make a phone call, to send an email, to review, or to send a text message. But I could not, for example, schedule a tour for my enrollment team in this example. Now if you check that, then a director could potentially schedule a tour for the enrollment team members.
Right. So the enrollment team in this particular example cannot execute the starts today task. They're centralized, they don't necessarily know that the child did show up that day.
Right. And this applies, this is, one of the questions we get about features like this is, can I do this for just one location? Can I do this for just one person? If somebody is designated on the enrollment team, this applies to them. Okay, and if somebody is designated for center level, this applies to them. It's not one person or one profile at a time. So this is kind of global for the entire enrollment team. The merge variables. I'm going to look at that with you in your email templates, but those of you who have been using email templates for a long time, think of these where you see lead first name, location city. That's a merge variable. You might not have called it that before. That is what it's called. In here, when you turn enrollment team on, now within your email templates, you're going to see merge variables related specifically to the enrollment team. You're going to get in location enrollment rep, and you also have this enrollment team name. So if you want, again, I think if it's a first come, first serve, or you want a name in general or a general inbox, a lot of enrollment teams, you're not replying to eSmith at ChildCareCRM, you're emailing info at ChildCareCRM. Right. So if you want everybody on the team to have a global inbox or a global phone number and not a specific phone number, you're going to want to enter that here. Now they can still have their own unique signature lines. The important thing to know here is if you do not fill this out and you use these merge variables within a template, it is going to come across as enrollment team name. It will not fill it out. And we've run into that with email templates before, so you're going to want to set something up here. Also, it is an email template, so you're all funny, you're hilarious, you're very crafty. A parent will see these merge variables. So, maybe team awesome. If that's cool with you, do it. But keep that in mind that you're going to want to call it enrollment specialists whatever
Oh,
you'd
there
like
you're
to
going
call it.
Australian again.
I've been going Australian all day. What did I said schedule. All right, so we are info@childcarecrm.com because we are a global inbox. A URL. I have seen a lot of people, I don't know what you've seen Lisa doing, but I have a couple of clients who have done, creativelearningroom.com/registration or /find out more /whatever. What have you
Schedule
seen
a tour.
Yeah, /schedule a tour. All right. My enrollment team phone number, again, this is a generic phone number that everybody has access to, so you wouldn't need a specific cell phone number in there, and then you can add an extension if you have one. So again, merge variables as soon as you turn enrollment team will be on. You're going to want to make sure that you've added these in to the processes. So there's my enrollment team settings. So now that I've built it out, I'm going to say that the rep who added the lead, so first come, first serve, is going to be assigned. And then that my directors can only give back phone, email, text message, and review tasks. And I've got all of their information set in here. The next step is to go to your staff settings. And again, if you are already implementing enrollment teams, these people are already built in, right?
Yes.
So let's look at somebody who is already built in, who is an enrollment team member. We've just never actually technically designated that. And I'll also show you how you do it. So let's say that Emily, there we go. All right, so Emily is part of our enrollment team, okay? Couple of things to note. So I want you to notice Emily is assigned to a specific location. She is working, I'm feeling weird talking in third person.
Pick somebody else.
Yeah, all right. So she's assigned to a specific location. So when I click enrollment team member, I will not be able to save. It will give me a warning that says, hey, this person needs to be higher than a location because an enrollment team member needs to be able to work throughout the
Multiple
database.
locations.
So you're going to want to move Emily up. Now, you don't have to move this enrollment team rep to the corporate level. What you do need to do is at least put them at a regional. Same rules apply, right? So if I'm at a regional level, I can only see tasks below me. I can only see
Right.
communications below me.
Only see centers assigned to that region.
I can't see above me. So you may have some adjusting or some preparing to do with your regions, how those
Yeah.
are set up. Or all enrollment team members need to sit at very, very top corporate level.
And that's another workflow process that you need to be prepared for.
Right.
Do you want your teams to just be responsible for only those centers that are within a specific region?
Okay. All right. So much preparedness today. All right, so I'm going to move Emily up to the regional level. Again, though, she can be up at the very top if that's okay with you and that's part of your processes. Nothing else would need to change. You're just going to want to designate her as the enrollment team member. If you don't have pictures uploaded, please do it. Those are like my favorite thing. So you can put them in the signature line. All right, so then I'll hit save. In your system privileges for an enrollment team member, once you learn how to type. All right, so let's talk through system privileges, Lisa. So when I add an enrollment team member, what do I need to have checked in these privileges?
So your read access privileges, there's not going to be a lot of change there unless, again, in your preparation, you have decided that you really want your enrollment teams to be able to launch drip campaigns. Again, it's not necessary for you to have drip campaigns in order to have an enrollment
Right.
team, but these functions work really well together.
Okay.
So as you go down, there's you would want to give them, like you just did, the opportunity to have drip campaigns in marketing. The other thing would be down in the modification access.
I can imagine this is going to be a big one for enrollment teams.
Yeah, because again, we're working with and across teams, so there might be times when we have to give a task to someone else.
Right.
Or share tasks with people. So that very bottom one, modify other users' tasks, becomes important.
Right, because if this is not checked, I cannot edit something that my team members have, or even a director in a center location. I can't edit her tasks or help her out with anything, right? So this is an important one to make sure that we've got that checked.
I would also, just as a general rule, if you're having enrollment teams, they're getting a lot of information from brand new parents, competitors and special employers. If that is a function that you do utilize, you would want that centralized enrollment team able to add and edit to that as well.
Yeah, I mean, I know I'm saying something on the fly here, but the privileges section has really, really grown, and some of the features that have been added, I mean, it's almost like the preferences section. If you haven't taken a look in a while at your preferences and your privileges, I say take a minute and do that. Even like this new privileges template, that's a brand new thing. So walk us through.
This is a best practice.
It's not even a brand new. It's been there.
It has.
Tell us about it.
So this would be a great opportunity for you to add a template.
Okay.
That had, now these positions come from your pick list.
Okay.
And you can see right now it says enrollment specialist no. So if you click on that.
I see. So in my pick list where I did staff title or position, if I add a new one,
it will come up here.
It comes up here.
Yes.
Okay.
What this is saying is now, okay, we're going to set a template for everyone who has that position title of enrollment specialist.
Okay.
The great thing about this is, if you're doing this in for enrollment teams, you can do this one time in a template. When you save that template, it's going to ask you, do you want to apply this to everyone who has that designation currently?
Okay.
So this is a way to update everybody with that position title, as well as set that template for privileges for people in the future.
I love it. Also, we have designations if they're a corporate user, if they're a regional user, or a location user.
Yep.
You have your modification access, so I'm going to come in here and check this. As Lisa said, it's probably not a bad idea to let them edit competitors, special employers, if that makes sense in yours.
They definitely need to be able to add and edit leads. Yep, that looks good.
All right, and then I'm going to hit save. So do I want to set these permissions for anybody with this title? And I can say absolutely I do. I think this is a really good step before you start building all these enrollment specialists out, or before you give them their titles, because then you don't have to do it one at a time.
Correct. You can do them all at once.
Now, let's say...
And then also anybody who joins you new,
will
you
have
just
this.
use that template.
Okay, so let's say I rolled enrollment teams out. I put a specific set of privileges in there, and then it dawned on me like, oops, they have access to a report I don't want them to have. So do I have to go one by one into every enrollment team's privilege and change it? Or if I come in here to this template and change something, what happens? Is it just going forward? Does it change everybody that already exists?
It should go backwards as well.
So you can
take one off, yeah.
All right, so we're going to say I don't actually want the enrollment team having access to the administrative reports.
Right. And then you're going to save that template. And it's asking you, so do you want this to be applied to everyone who has that position title?
So even backwards. If they already have it, if they've had that report forever, doesn't matter. As soon as I hit yes, they lose access to that tab.
Correct.
I really like that feature. Okay.
I'm glad
I
that
know.
we have found you something that puts a smile.
Okay, so I added Emily as the enrollment team specialist, right? She is ET Emily. I'm going to reset her password because I don't remember it.
We also need to change her position title because we just applied all of that to enrollment specialist.
Good point. She's no longer an assistant director. Congratulations on your promotion, Emily. Bang. There we go.
And we've already indicated that she is an enrollment team member.
All right, so let's log in. Is there anything else to talk about when you're setting an enrollment? Oh, locations. Hello.
Yes.
All right, so then you're going to want to go into your system settings, or organization settings, I'm sorry, locations, and you'll see a list of all your locations. If you haven't used the table view before, it is more than my favorite thing ever, because now you have your sortable tops up here. It's way easier to me than the tree view, but to each their own. All right, so I'm going to go into Northwoods, and I am going to designate Emily as my enrollment team specialist there.
Now, the only people that will be in this drop-down box are those people that you have said, yes, they are an enrollment team member.
Representative. Do you want to take any time to explain the other seats? Because I think this concept, when you're setting an enrollment team up, you might want to change a few things out, especially, I don't know how you were doing it, but with enrollment team reps, people were building them into the location admin or the corporate, like where, if I'm going to roll this out and I've already had some workarounds around, what is an admin at a location supposed to do? Is it specific? Do I just look at these as generic seats? How does this work?
So I think that what happened is exactly what you're saying. A lot of people had a lot of workarounds.
Yeah.
So the center director is pretty straightforward, but there were a lot of workarounds with the admin. So some customers have an admin person who does billing and paperwork and is not actually in classrooms, is not kind of behind the door. But then others have that role taken up by an assistant director. So at this point, you can kind of determine what those roles are for your organization. But now that we have enrollment rep, you won't need to have your enrollment team in the admin function.
Gotcha.
That really comes to play when you're looking at business rules, reply tos on emails,
Notifications on the web forms.
where tasks are assigned.
Right.
You want to look at what role, what position title are we assigning those to.
Right. And so, you've got these seats, and you can designate who is in the director seat and who is in the assistant director and admin and all of these seats. And in your business rules, you can say that I want this task assigned to the director level user. Now, I want to remind you guys that email signatures are not dependent on this. You can go give them a title. You name it. It doesn't say enrollment rep like we just did it. It says enrollment specialist or director of operations or whatever you want to call it. But what this is asking you is who is managing the tasks in this seat? And the assistant director one is new because a lot of you, when I was running a center as a director, yes, I was the director, but my systems people were actually my assistant director, right? Like she ran my management system, she ran my CRM, she just kind of reported back to me. So I found myself moving her to the director seat so that the business rules would fire to her. So now we've kind of taken that workaround out for you. You can put her in and reassign the business rule to fire to your assistant director, to fire to your admin, your enrollment rep. So you can now change the seats a little bit, which I appreciate. We've changed that. All right, so I digress. But now we've got Emily as the enrollment team rep for Northwoods. Might want to give her another center too. Let's give her this one too, so she can manage more than one. Now in your enrollment rep, if you notice it says system. So if you don't designate an enrollment representative for that location, which I think is a best practice to put somebody in there. However, if you don't, you're going to fall into that first come, first serve available team tasks, which we will look at in a minute. So it doesn't mean that these leads will not be assigned anywhere and they'll go off to the ether. They will be assigned, but they'll just be labeled as kind of available, so you can see that. Look at Emily this. All right, so I covered setting somebody up, giving them their privileges, adding them to the locations. How about we look real quick at business rules while we're here, since we just talked about that.
Okay.
So in your system settings, business rules, again, if you are not proficient with the business rules, I think before you roll enrollment team out, get comfortable with those, make sure you know what you're doing in there. So a couple of things you might want to change up in your business rules. So let's talk about when a lead is first added. So I have this new phone call follow-up and it's assigned to the location director. This might be one of the biggest ones that you end up changing, right?
Yeah.
So now you get to say, who do you want this business rule or this automation to be assigned to? Is it still the director? You also, again, you have that assistant director, so that's a cool new one. Is it the enrollment team as a whole? In which case we'll look at it. It will go to kind of the first come, first serve bucket. Or is it specifically the representative on that location or that accepted the lead based on the settings?
Right.
That was a mouthful. Did that make sense? Do I need to run through that again?
Maybe one more time.
Okay. So going back to the settings tab, you said, I want whoever clicked the green check mark to be the representative, or I want the representative that I have just noted in the location settings to be the representative no matter who clicked the button. So in here, you're saying the lead enrollment rep. If you had set it as whoever clicked the button, that's who you're talking about right here. Whoever clicked the button is going to now be the lead enrollment rep and would be assigned this first phone call. So
It doesn't mean lead as in superior or first. It's lead as in
I never thought about it like that.
accepted the lead.
That's true. She might be the head lead enrollment rep.
The top lead enrollment rep.
Got it. So if you had said it that way, right now you're saying whoever clicked the green check mark or whoever manually added this person's information, they are going to be assigned this phone call task.
I feel like I have to add in that there really isn't a best way to do it.
No.
Both options are really, really viable. Both have pros and both have cons. You know, when you do first come, first serve, you have great response time because whoever's available takes it. When you do lead enrollment rep, whoever has that lead gets to hold their hand the whole way through, and they have a really nice one-on-one personal experience. So neither is preferable or neither is better or worse.
Yeah.
I mean, you can really choose how this works for your team.
I agree. And back to our point earlier when people are saying, is this right for me? We're going to kind of walk you through all of those options and say, look, there's not a right way, there's not a wrong way. This is good, this is also good. And then you need to make that decision for your organization. And I'm sure it will come up later. But one of my other favorite features about this particular new enhancement is that it's not locked in. If you start one way and you decide we need to pivot or we need to make some changes,
right,
you just come in here and you edit your business rules, or you edit those enrollment team settings. You just change a few things up and see how that works for you. So this isn't one of those things where you are locked in and you cannot make adjustments. You can always change. So that's the lead enrollment rep. The enrollment team, again, we're going to show you that, but this would basically be saying when we get a new lead in, no matter who clicked the green check mark, no matter if I have a location rep assigned, I still want it to go to a bucket. To Lisa's point, even if you have a specific lead enrollment rep, this might be a good one for response times. Just want it to be assigned to the team, even if that person's on the phone call or she's out for today. Somebody in the team will see it. It would not be assigned to specifically her. Somebody else can grab it. So now you can add those in here on your business rules. I think your business rules are going to need a little bit of tweaking once you've figured out your workflow, or if you already have it, you'll want to kind of adjust it a little bit. So that's, again, where you're going to want to start. Anything else in the business rules that you can think will want to?
This is really the place where you find the most workarounds. So going into each one, if you show them the expand all, just really taking a look at what those actions are and who's doing that so that you can figure out where your adjustments are needed.
100%. I think this is a really good page to print out. It might be 7, 10, 12 pages long. I don't care. I'd say start here, hit expand all, hit print, and make notes about what you want to change and where you need to change it at. All right, so let's log in as an enrollment team rep. There we go. Hey, what's this? What is this? There's so many things I want to talk about.
What?
You first. Wait,
right.
No, me first.
You first, go ahead.
Because once I hit clear all, it'll be great.
Don't hit, okay.
Okay, so this is an in-app chat, and you have probably seen it a couple of times. This is where our team communicates with you, and you can communicate with us. When we were telling you about the new release, the new features, we put a lot of information in here. It either came to you in the app or it came to you by email. You have to have a user account in order to get this communication, even if I send it by email. So if you've got somebody in your organization that wants to know what's going on with the system but doesn't have a user account, be a nice person and make them one. They don't need even a login, but give them an account so that they can get our information. When you're interacting with this chat bubble, you'll see anything that we think it's important you know. You can also search for answers really quickly. Here's the information about our new release, and it'll take you to that landing page that we've looked at. So we communicate with you here. So I know you get busy, and you can silence us for a little bit, but I do encourage you to check them out before you just hit clear all, okay? Because once you hit clear all, they're hard to come back to. What else? What's this?
This, you've probably seen this. This comes up pretty frequently
Never.
for users. It is a rating.
Okay.
We want an honest rating. But I will share that my team is really, really striving for 9s and 10s.
Okay.
And if you feel like you cannot honestly and within your heart give us a 9 or 10, we want to know why.
Okay.
We want to know what the problem is, or what you're frustrated with, or what you find is an opportunity within the system that would get us to a 9 or 10 for you.
I love it. The one that throws me, maybe you can help me expand on this. I was a director, and if you asked me that question, how likely am I to recommend it? I wouldn't want other competitors using it. So that's not what you mean here. You just mean like, am I happy? Am I satisfied? Would I brag about it when I get a new staff member in? If I hire an assistant director, am I going to say this is the best thing we have ever had?
So if you don't want to share it with your competitors,
No.
then you might want to think about this question is this my secret weapon?
That's a better way to say it, because I would have read it as, no, I don't want them to know about it.
Is this my secret weapon, 9 or 10?
Yes. Oh, and then I get to, even if I give you a 10, I get to give you some feedback, right?
Absolutely. And we do read these.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm really excited that popped up. It never does when I log in. Okay, so I'm logged in as an enrollment team member. Because I have location, or because I'm over in the region, I can see 2 different locations that I've given myself access to. The pipeline view has not changed. We're kind of going to breeze over this a little bit because, like I said, if you've used the system, you know tasks, you know the calendar. A few kind of cool aspects here is now you can see the different calendars without drilling down to those locations. This is another part of trying to get rid of the dive and surface. So now you can just really quickly see what's on the calendar at the locations that you're helping manage or that you are an enrollment rep of. I'm calling in sick all of July at Northwoods. There you go. All right, so I love that feature. Now in my tasks, this is probably the biggest change for those of you who are on the enrollment team. You are used to seeing my tasks and all tasks, but now you have 2 more. So Lisa, available team tasks. What can I expect to find in there?
So this is what we were just talking about a little bit earlier. These are tasks that have not been assigned to an individual.
Okay.
This is your first come, first serve. This is a phone call task that is waiting to happen. It is available. Anybody who is available to make that phone call and complete that task.
Okay. And this would have hit when we set the business rule up to say apply to enrollment team.
Correct. This is a team task.
This is a team task, so anybody can get it. So if you're on the enrollment team and you've got a business rule set up, you'll want to check those. What I also love about these that we haven't always had this is that it indicates to you that there is something in there. So if you're worried about your team forgetting those or not paying attention, I think that number alerting them that, if we're on things that are due tomorrow or that are just past due, it will show that number in there so they know that there is something available, not to ignore it. The other one you have is all team tasks.
Yes.
So all team tasks works a lot like all tasks, except that it's only the ones applicable to the team, whether it's been grabbed or it's still available.
Right. So we're both on the same enrollment team. You call out sick for the day. I want to make sure that your families are still taken care of. I can see all of the tasks that were happening within my enrollment team.
Okay. So if it's in here and it's assigned to another enrollment team member, again, because we gave you the ability to add and edit others' tasks, you can now go in and say, Chuck has been out for a minute. I can go ahead and help Chuck out and get Pam's follow-up taken care of.
Yes.
All right. You obviously still have the ability to see all. So I think to quickly define them, mine is anything specifically assigned to you, whether it's an enrollment team task or just a regular task that you gave yourself. Available team tasks, things that have been assigned that the whole team can grab, first come, first serve. All team tasks are your tasks and everybody else on the team. And all is the traditional my tasks, everyone below me tasks, below us, on another level. On another level. So that works exactly the same. The radio buttons have changed a little bit, so they're not the little dots. You can kind of toggle between them. What else do we need to look at for the enrollment team? The YouTube chat is open, so if you're on here and you're watching us and you've got questions, throw it in. I know Lisa has had a few in the meantime. Do you want to cover that in case anybody's just thinking it over?
Yeah, was there a, that was in a different release. I was thinking about the change to the referral when you refer to a location. Okay, the number one question that has come in.
I'm ready.
What happened to my system? Was there an update or something?
Nope. Just kidding. Yes, there was an update. Again, I communicate with you guys through this in-app. It's either going to be an in-app message, you're going to get an email from me, you might see a little notification pop up when you're browsing the website that says allow notifications, opt into them, because then I'm going to try to send things, updates when we update the release landing page or we update the blog or whatever, things that I want you to know. I do post it on social media, but again, where are you at? I want to make sure that you are getting this information. If this was a surprise to you, please let me know how you read, where you find us, where should I find you at? I don't ever want there to be a release or any updates and you think, what happened here? Okay, so if you do dismiss this, that's fine. I do suggest you come in and kind of review your past messages so that you can see them. So yes, there was a release. The other thing is a few more things besides the big three that we talked about, enrollment teams, two-way, drip campaigns. There were other changes to the system. Yes. Things moved in your leads view, actually. So let's kind of look at that. So one of the biggest questions we got is, we have the current tab, audit, which is not new, but we renamed history and moved it down there because you weren't really interacting with it very often. These two, activities and communications, what you were used to seeing is children, tasks, pending emails, maybe not these two because they weren't always on. But down here you had your past activities section, right?
Yes.
That's not there anymore. Where it's moved now is the activities tab. So all of the same information will be in there, but now you have the option to view different things. So let's go back to Bill Brady because he had some information.
Yes.
All right, so now I'm in Bill's file. If I want to see all of the activities we've done with him, I'll just click down to activities, and I can decide that I want to see only interactions that my personnel has had with him, calls they've made, tasks they've completed, or I can come here and say I do want to see the emails and text messages that have gone out. Everything that you saw in your past activities still exists. It's just moved over a tab. And Lisa, you explained it best on the webinar this morning. So can you tell us why we would have moved some things over?
So I think if you look specifically at the communications tab, that helps you understand it. When you enable some of these features, what you're looking at now is a database that has the two-way communication enabled. We have now inbound and outbound.
Right.
So it was necessary in order to utilize that new functionality to move things around a little bit to make sure that we could accommodate some of these trends and the new things that we wanted to do. So pulling communications out allowed us to see that responsiveness versus having it in the activities where you have to say, look in the activities tab there, where you have to figure out, okay, here's, I sent an email, but then I called, but then there's an email. Was there a reply to that email? So instead of having to weed through and find the information, we've put it in one place for you so you can see the inbound and outbound.
And I would even imagine, we created the activity section, even if, I'm just thinking about the inbound and outbound, the threads and the length of it. If you remember when past activities was down here, you have a pagination or pagination, however you say that, but I mean, when you add inbound emails and inbound text to that, the amount of things that you're going to see on that top 10, guys, it's really not that much once you think about how many emails you've had a couple of days back and forth with drip campaigns being in your system and the enrollment team interacting with these people. It really would have been very difficult to find exactly what you're looking for. So our best bet was to move it right very, very top. So when you click into that lead, you can say, do I want to look at the pending information I have on them or information about their kids, or I can jump right here and say, what have we done in the past? Right here to say what the communications tab is. Versus if we left it at the bottom, the amount of scrolling that you would have had to do. And I always tell you guys, fake it till you make it. When somebody comes in for a tour, pull up their information real quick, hover over everything. This is actually way faster in order to see that past interaction with your parents. So it did move around in order to make room for these new features that you guys have been asking for. So yes, to answer the question, was there an update? There was.
We've talked about this one a little bit, but the question has come up. I saw the big launch, but I don't think it's working for my company. I don't see anything different. Why not?
Right. So I saw the launch. I've got an enrollment team. I've had an enrollment team. Emily, you know I have an enrollment team. Why isn't this thing turned on, right? In order to turn it on, you're going to need to email support@childcarecrm.com. Lisa's going to run you through the Are You Ready test. You're going to run you through the Are You Ready test, Lisa and her team. And then we're going to turn it on for you, and then and only then will you see the preference.
Can you show them the quick start guides?
Sure. All right, so we have also set up the quick start guides. They are, before, like I said, I love using the in-app chat feature, but what happens is you guys log in, you get busy, you're on a mission. So you hit dismiss, and you might have dismissed the release notes, and now you don't exactly know where to find them, right? So we've created this landing page for you, childcarecrm.com/latest-release, and this will live here. It will not always have this release on it, although there will be an archive. Anytime we do an update to the system, you can come here, and I do encourage you to allow, when you see the pop-up that says, can we send you notifications, allow it, because when I update this page, I'm going to send you a notification that says, we've put some new information on the release page, check it out. But now what you've got on here is we did the release notes for the other features that were added. You've got the user guides for the big three, a press release that we've done, any of the blogs that we think would help you when you're using them. So for instance, let's go to the Enrollment Team user guide. You've got kind of why you might be a candidate for an enrollment team, some quick screen shares for you on how to set the enrollment team functionality up, how the enrollment team might interact, and then a detailed guide if you want to breeze past the pictures and you want to read step by step how to set it up. So this is part of the Are You Ready preparedness plan. Have you checked this out? Have you watched the videos? Have you read everything you need to read? And then what?
So another question that came in is, I don't actually have a central enrollment team, but can I use this feature anyway?
I don't have a centralized enrollment team, but can I use this feature anyway? Can you? The answer is sure.
Yeah.
I mean, if you pass the test and you're ready to go, we'll turn it on for you. The real question is, how would you use it?
Exactly.
So, if you have this situation where you have 2, 3, 4, 5 locations and you have a specific enrollment representative, or we called it administrative assistant there, they might be doing specific enrollment work where they're moving the leads through the pipeline, fostering the relationships after retention. But I would say if they're not managing that process in more than their location, you probably don't always need it. However, like we keep saying, that is 100% up to you. If you've got a crafty, cool way that you want to use this,
Go for it.
try it in the lab, see what you think. If it works out and it is a success for you, I want to know about it, and then roll it out. Why not? So yeah.
So this is also a question we got. A lot of people out there planning to do big things with enrollment teams. How many locations can my CRM handle?
How many locations can we handle? Well, we've always said in your CRM, volume is not an issue, right? You can have as much volume as you want, add as many leads as you want, put as many staff people in there, as many locations as you wanted to. That is kind of one of the benefits of being a ChildCareCRM subscriber versus another CRM subscriber. You are not paying per seat. You are not capped at a set of volume. It's yours. Now, you do pay for additional locations. That is part of your subscription, and you probably already have that worked out in your contract. So, be ready that when you start adding these multiple locations, it is a subscription service. You'll pay by location. You do not pay for regions, though. So your corporate level is free. All of your region levels are free. It's just literally the actual location. So if you want to build in regions for your enrollment reps, you're not charged for that. So
There's no limit.
No.
You can have as many locations as you want.
You can have all of it.
That was the questions that we've received. If people have other questions, though, how do they submit those? How do they get to us for help and support?
Okay, that is, I'm going to let you answer some of that. I'll tell you what
Okay.
my favorite ones are. All right, so we have really, over the years, we've taken really great effort to figure out how you learn. And the truth is when you guys are growing as fast as you have so many different learning styles in your organization. Some of you like to read, some of you like to watch, some of you just want instant gratification and want to know right now, don't wait, let's go. I don't know anyone like that. But over here in the help, when you click the help, you can create a ticket. Those of you who've been with us a long time, you're used to emailing support@childcarecrm.com, virtually the same thing. When you email support it creates a ticket, or you can be in your system and create a ticket. Now you can kind of elaborate, but I have always said when you have a more technical issue that you think is going to take some research and some digging and isn't immediately urgent, has to be answered right now, or you're not sitting right in front of it, that's really a good spot for a ticket. You'll be able to track the ticket, which I love. You can go there and see the status of your ticket, who is working on your ticket, ask questions about your ticket, rate the performance of the ticket or how we answered it. So that's kind of how I view tickets.
I would agree.
Okay. If you are sitting in front of your computer and you have a quick question or you're wondering where something is, a lot of times I'm trying to edit email templates and I can't find them, and it's a very quick jump up a level, they're right up there. That's a really good time to start a chat. So again, this is that in-app chat. You can start a new conversation and you can see everybody that's online, which I really, really love. I don't like this keyboard.
I know.
Oh my goodness. How about just hey guys? What I like about this for our team, and what you guys don't know on the other side of it, is that when I send this chat in, whoever is on the other end in our customer success team can see where I am in the system. So it often happens that somebody will say, working on my email templates, it looks like I lost all of them, and we'll be able to say, oh, you're in the right tab, you're just on the wrong layer, so jump up a bit. And so since we can see that, we can answer you really quickly. I always say, if you're going to use this one, see how she's getting right back to you. Don't send a chat and go to lunch, because you were telling me earlier, what's your rule on that?
So we have a 4-hour window.
Okay.
If you send a chat and we reply and we don't hear from you, or we haven't seen activity in 4 hours, we'll go ahead and close the chat.
Okay.
You can always reactivate it. You can always chat back with us, but 4 hours is kind of the amount of time that we think is good for a chat.
I agree. And now, there are certain things that I think are absolutely urgent. And I'm going to chat and say, Lisa, this is a problem, help me out. There's probably a chance that you'll create a ticket out of that if it needs to be escalated, right?
Yes.
So I can expect that even if I don't email support, if it becomes a bigger problem, you will help me create a ticket within the chat.
Yes.
Or send me maybe some guidance.
We'll tell you, this is going to require additional research. We're going to create a ticket. Please look for an email with your ticket number, and that will be sent directly to you.
Okay. This is one of our newer features I kind of want you to talk about, Lisa. This submit an idea. What does that mean? Where am I sending it? What am I doing with that?
So as much as we love enrollment teams and two-way communication and drip campaigns, those were not solely our ideas. Those ideas came from users.
I really like to take credit for some of the good ones, though.
So what we have added here is a submitted idea area.
Okay.
Because our users, that's how we determine where the system's going. That's how we improve the system and enhance it. So what this particular idea button lets you do is to go in and submit what your idea is.
Okay.
Within that system, similar to the tickets, you can then track your idea. And the thing that I love about this new feature is you can also see the ideas of all the other users.
That's really cool.
So if you have another user who has an idea and you're like, wow, I never thought of that, I love that idea, you can vote it up.
Okay.
And that's how we are then prioritizing what gets developed and what gets improved within the system, is by the user vote.
I love it, and I like that it's visual. I like that you can go in there and see where your idea lies on the priority list, kind of like you do with your wait list with parents when they want to know where they sit. Imagine if they could see it. So the other thing that it's even happened to me, on this side of the world, I've been putting an idea in, and I think I've got the best solution for this problem that we're having, or something that we need to solve. And as I start typing, the system will tell me, wait, have you seen Lisa's? Because she said something just like this. I'll go read Lisa's story or idea and think, that's even better. I had not considered doing it that way. And then so I can just vote it up. I really like this. If you haven't checked it out, please do go in there. And like Lisa said, and we've been telling you forever, this is your system, and we want it to be what you need from it, because you use it every single day. And so without your ideas, we're just guessing. So please go put it in there, so that we can make the system better and better and better for you. What else? Is there a way to gauge the completion rate for the enrollment team as a whole? Reporting on the enrollment team, that is a big one. So let's talk about how you can currently report on the enrollment team. Any of the reports that you have that already had staff members in there assigned to, you will now see the enrollment team representatives or the enrollment team as a whole. I know as we go on, we are going to add things like enrollment team conversion and statistics and things like that. One of the it's been a long time since we did a big massive release like this, and I wish I had said this on this morning's webinar, but anytime that we release a big feature like this, we intentionally leave some things up to you guys, right? So before we just decide every single report that should exist, we need some feedback from you. And so how we do that, again, is with the Idea Center, or with you guys telling us, I need to be able to track conversion on 3 different enrollment teams at one time, or 3 different enrollment reps. So instead of guessing what you need, we really do like that feedback. So oftentimes we will put a new feature out into the system, we will make sure it's very usable and helpful to you and adds benefit to your organization as is, and then we rely on you guys to submit those ideas and tell us what else you need in order to make this a success, so that we don't just make assumptions for you. Because like I said, we think we know, but we are not in your day-to-day operations. We are not on the front lines just like you guys. So as you start using these features and you're noticing hey, it would be more helpful if I had a conversion report for the enrollment team. Lisa, I would say that's a good spot for the submitted idea.
Absolutely. And think about too how you would use it. So if you're submitting that particular idea, would you want it to be in the assigned to, or would you maybe want it to be down at the bottom where you can choose a location, the org level? Maybe the org level you would want is enrollment team.
Right. So on any report right now that you could have run on a staff person, you'll now see the enrollment team option. So you can run it on all members, you can run it on specific members. So see how those are working for you, and then let us know. If it's working exactly the way you needed it to, awesome. If you need more from it, again, just like if any of you were here in 2009, all of the growth that you've seen is because of you. So it's only going to get better as long as you keep telling us what you need and giving us feedback. I would say Lisa knows better than anybody, but good, bad, ugly, indifferent, even the bad stuff, we don't ignore it. We do look at it, we make decisions based on it. So if you are not liking something, give us a holler, let us know so that we can figure out how to make it better or how to improve it if it makes sense for everybody that's using the system. You're welcome, Taylor. All right, anything else, or should we wrap up our enrollment team? Now, if you are catching this as a replay, you can still put your questions in the YouTube channel. We will be monitoring them throughout the day, throughout the week. If it's more urgent, you want to make sure we see it. Don't forget, click the help, submit a ticket, add a chat, do whatever you need to do to get a hold of us. I think that might be it, unless you want to add anything else for enrollment team.
That sounds great for enrollment team.
Shameless plug, stay tuned tomorrow, 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. We're going to be talking about drip campaigns, which is another one of the big three, probably the most system changing one, I would say. So do check it out, 1 p.m. tomorrow, Central Standard Time. You can always catch the replay too, but we'll sign off. We'll talk to you guys soon. Bye, everybody.
Bye.